perhaps you would have noticed that most of these single line sentences are practically monosyllabic sentences, most of them. And they really make very good epigrams in that sense, you see. This also is practically a monosyllabic line, you see, except one word, any, you see. All the others was single syllable words, you see. Now, the context of this line, as we have in Savitri, is a...
The line is there a God
whom any cry
can move?
Yeah. Yeah. Is there a God whom any cry can move?
So what is the literal meaning? Without any context of this thing.
Yeah.
What is the literal meaning in English? Means, is there a God, does there exist a God who a cry can move?
Yeah, I mean, what I am seeing is there only a stony-hearted God. I am crying, weeping, I am in trouble, and no answer comes.
Yeah.
So therefore, my revolt is there at all any power who can come and help me? That is what it amounts to, basically. See. Is that all right, what you want?
Yeah.
Now, in the context in which this line appears, I will say it's a very crucial context. Savitri had been already told that her husband is going to die 1 year after the marriage. She comes to the hermitage and starts staying with her husband and the family there. 1 year is almost coming to an end, and she is counting the number of days remaining, and at the same time she is in great anguish. Savitri, only few days are remaining, and tomorrow my husband will not be there anymore. And she keeps on weighing all the pros and cons. No help is coming to me. What do I do? She is, of course, enjoying the company of her lover, and at the same time, the grief is invading her constantly. So she is constantly swaying back and forth between joy and grief, constantly. But now a moment comes when she cannot even think of this or that, to such an extent that her own self becomes indifferent. Grief's self becomes calm. You personify her grief and imagine that self of grief becoming calm. She says that possibly after the death of my husband, I will go with him as Sati, sacrifice myself also, and be done away with this world. That is one possibility she is weighing in her mind. There is also another one. She says that, look, that is all right, I can go away that way. But then what happens to my elderly people here? Who will look after them? Satyavan is not there, I am not there. I have also to look after these people. So she is now swinging back and forth. Should I stay back for them? Should I go along with him? And she is not getting any clue at all to anything. But finally, there is something in Savitri which makes even her grief's self calm. She is not disturbed by anything at all, whether it is going to happen this way or that way. She remains undisturbed. Grief's self, that is one of the beautiful things in Savitri. Yogically, from our point of view, it is a different type of a realization which is not common at all. That your grief self becomes calm, steady, does not get agitated with anything at all. Under these conditions, which is almost a yogic condition, she hears a voice from above. her counterpart, the superior counterpart. Here is human Savitri, but divine Savitri who is there, she speaks something to Savitri, to human Savitri. And she says, is this all? Is it for this purpose that you have come to this world? What are you here for? She is constantly prompting Savitri. What is it that for you have come here? You cannot run away like that, you cannot remain like this. And the voice tells her, look, the first thing which you have to do is, you first find out your soul. Human condition is all right, human condition has now become quiet. It is not going to disappear at all. So you are in the most appropriate state to discover your soul. And the voice tells her, discover your soul. But still, Savitri goes, what for? My husband is going to die tomorrow. Is it for this purpose that I come here? For the suffering here? And therefore she says this thing, is there any God who can really help me in this plight of mine? What for I should do? You are asking me to discover my soul. Is there somebody to really help me even under these conditions? That is the question she is posing. In fact, that happens to us also very often. We try in our ordinary life, we try every kind of solution, we make every sort of attempt, do this, do that, finally we get frustrated and then we give up. Either we give up or we say, perhaps there is no God at all to help us. And we just forget about the whole thing, you see. We suffer the consequences. But here, Savitri is constantly prompted and she will be told, look, you cannot take this attitude in life. You have to go forward and find your soul first. And then you will be guided on the path. Then perhaps at that point you will know that at every moment of time, at every crucial stage of your development progress, you will get the necessary guidance from God, from me. God is there everywhere. But then you have to really prepare and move along those lines constantly. But in the earlier stage, when Savitri is not ready in that sense, she is questioning. She is revolting. Is there a God at all who can come and help me? Why should I believe? Why should I do all that kind of a thing? For what? For whom? That is a revolt, you see. And that happens very often in our ordinary life also.